Chelsea Football Club are down bad. Week after week, we're like, oh man, it has to turn around sometime. Todd Bowley spent so much money, you know. It feels like a
Tommy spent a grip. Can we say grip? Did he reach grip level?
He's at grip. He is beyond. He is at crypto crash levels of money spent.
Right. It's either crypto bros lost as much money as he spent on Chelsea, and also kind of lost because it ain't going well, guys.
Look, I saw this stat on Twitter. I just want to. It's a picture of Thomas Tuchel, and he just says Thomas Tuchel has won 35% of Chelsea's Premier League points this season. He was sacked September 6th.
Bro,
that was like 6 months ago.
Why'd you sack man, bro?
My man he still is holding on to those points that he accrued.
Bro, 100%. He still got frequent flyer miles, bro.
With Chelsea.
This reminds me of when I got sacked. From a company that I worked at, but unbeknownst to me, a customer that I had signed up purchased a ton of furniture and used the account that I gave them. And because of that, I finished #1 in the region in sales for the quarter in which I had been fired at the beginning of.
Wow.
So because of that, I somehow won, and begrudgingly, they had to send me an email saying, congratulations, you've won X amount of essentially Amex points kind of, and they had their own portal, right? So I went in the portal, and that's where I bought the board and the mic that started Cooligans podcast.
Wow. Look at this.
Isn't that incredible?
Full circle. That is full circle right there.
Hell yeah. Dude, I wish we had the bleep because I'd tell that company what I think, but... Look at that, how that worked out.
Okay, very serendipitous. Okay, since we do have a Chelsea fan.
Yes, unfortunately.
Producer.
We can smell it too, bro. It's different in here, bro.
Producer Miguel.
Miguelito, bro.
So, Mike, just we'll get a quick...
There's two people surrounding us named Mike that are Chelsea fans. Mike Ruiz.
Yeah.
And now, Miguelito.
So, Mike, they lost? So Chelsea lost to Tottenham 2-0. What is the quick feeling? The quick feeling of do we keep Graham Potter? Do we let him go? How do you feel about your club right now?
I think it's just such a tough situation because there's so much change right now and so much transition that it's really hard to judge what is the true problem. You know what I mean? The squad needs a revamp. The manager is...
How much more of a revamp, bro? This man could have built a 35-story building.
That's true.
With that amount of money he spent.
When I mean the revamp, I mean these players now that we just bought becoming, more better chemistry, becoming more of a team than just a group of individuals.
Bro, right. All of Chelsea in the mud, Drick.
Ow. Bro, that dude was what? He was almost an Arsenal player,
but he ain't.
I know.
Hold that L, bro.
So look,
clip that.
Mike is talking team chemistry like I was talking, for the last few weeks,
By the way, Bay Area Guna just said that man is too articulate for this show. Speaking of Mike,
you better start getting some words wrong.
Yeah. Say it with me, Blangola.
Okay, it's Blelsey now.
All right, Blake.
Okay, you're classing. You're like Tunde Tony with his fashion, classing the show up a little too much.
Yeah. You upclassing us. We're more of an 8th grade class.
So, look, I think I would probably say a lot of Chelsea fans feel the same way. At least, I don't know how long of a leash they really want to give Graham Potter, but the fact that that there's been so much turnover, it doesn't. Look, again, it's like when they brought, when the Lakers signed Karl Malone, Steve Nash, or whatever. When they brought Gary Payton, remember?
Yeah, all the old heads.
They were like,
one last time, let's run this.
They were like,
what was that movie where all the old dudes got on the motorcycles?
I don't know the name of the movie.
You know what I'm talking about? Road Dogs or something like that?
Wasn't that with Tim Allen or something?
It became like a comedy reference, right? Whenever they were old dudes at a table.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Road Hogs or something like that.
I don't know. But but this is the general feeling is just so much turnover that it's just like
that's not an excuse for Nottingham Forest, though.
Right. But this is why. But I don't know if that.
And they kept their manager, the one with the. It looked like he don't sleep. You know what I'm talking about?
right.
You know what I mean?
But if it happens with Nottingham Forest, you understand. You understand the negatives. Look, Chelsea are above Nottingham Forest as they should be. But the fact that they are just getting it's not even just exactly poor results. It's just like they don't know each other. They don't know. They don't really. They're playing with each other. Not for each other. Let's go. Coach Polanco.
Right? Never. Just like the last time Polanco was at an orgy, bro. Everybody playing with each other, but not for each other. Okay. That's where he learned it. That's where he got his coaching license. You got a whistle and everything,
my
bro.
pregame speech at the orgy is inspiring.
And his pre-cum speech is even more inspiring, dude. Why would you give a speech at that moment? And by the way, I want to give a shout out to NYCFC's songs who wants to help us with the name. Kirby D said The Expendables. Crimson Pizza said Old Dogs. NYCFC said Raw Dogs, which is not it. That's again Christian. But Justin Freeberg figured out Wild Hogs.
Wild Dog, yes. Okay, yeah. I remember that one.
Which is also.
I don't even know.
I have to. This is another orgy reference. I gotta let go. Once again, this says Puerto Rico, just in case you're wondering. This does not say Pornhub on it.
Okay. So I don't know. I don't know exactly.
I don't agree that that's an issue, but I will say
Graham Potter is also trending, by the way. So this is not a good sign for when any manager is trending.
Yeah, I'll tell you where he's not trending, at the front office of Chelsea.
You don't trend if you win in a bunch of games.
I'll tell you that. You got to win all of them. Arsenal trending right now. But I think what the point about Nottingham Forest, they play a much more rudimentary system than Graham Potter's trying to play. And if you look at when Graham Potter was at Brighton, they played they punched way above their weight.
Yeah.
But the one thing that I think we could say about them is like they weren't scoring as many goals. And then Zerbi walks in, DeZerbi, whatever my guy's name is, and now they're scoring buckets, bro. So that's kind of an L for Graham. Right?
Kind of. I mean, the L's that he's getting with Chelsea are L's for Graham.
I'm not even talking about just like, I'm not even talking about like the heavy amount of losses he's accepting.
Look, there's a stat here I see on Twitter from America Soccer FC. It says in Jesse Marsh's last 9 games at Leeds, he had 9 points. In Graham Potter's last 13 games, he has gotten 10 points with Chelsea.
Bro, that's that because he's American.
There's a bias, clearly.
Yeah. If he was Jesse Marshland, and he was from, Yorkshire, he wouldn't have gotten treated this way, bro.
Yo, Jesse Marsh for manager at Chelsea. How we feeling?
No.
Okay. Quick answer from a producer, Blake.
I think genuinely, though, one of the biggest things that's hurting Chelsea, too, is just expectation, right? Because when Potter was at Brighton, like they were really overperforming where people saw them. They were 9th place. That's crazy for a team like Brighton. When you're a team like Chelsea
Chelsea's Graham Potter was like, oh, you want to just be in that? Because I can do that.
I can bring us to 9th place.
Yeah. And that's the difference between managing essentially the top 6 clubs and managing anywhere else.
Well, hold on. Where do you get the chance to become a top 6 club manager? Do you have to find gems? Or you have to bring them from other major clubs, right? You've got to bring them in from your Real Madrids. See, Real Madrid fans, you could relax. You could leave our mentions alone. You got to bring them in from like your Inter or Juventus or, PSG. You've got to bring them from large clubs. If you're going to bring them from within the league, odds are you're going to get a manager that's just been sacked from a major club in the Premier League or someone who deserves the step up. We all were... Mike, you probably were also like in agreement. This guy deserves this step up.
Right.
Eddie Howe deserved a step up, and he went to Newcastle and worked his way up. There's those opportunities. That's where you find these guys. You don't just grab them from nowhere. You don't bring in no names. And this is kind of what can happen. But we all looked at Graham Potter and said, yeah, he's right for this opportunity. Everyone did.
I think so. So I agree with that. He definitely deserved the opportunity. But the point about expectation that Mike's mentioned, there is managing Arsenal, managing Manchester United, Manchester City, Chelsea, Tottenham. They are maybe Tottenham. I felt, you know what? It felt wrong coming out of my lips.
Yeah.
But no, but expectation is can change the mentality of a club. Can affect the player's confidence. Can affect the manager's confidence.
It can affect the manager's regime, because one of the biggest benefits to Arsene Wenger coming from the Japanese league was that when he came in, even though a lot of his own fans didn't want him at that moment, expectations were kind of low for the heights he reached. But if he walked in and there was kind of an inkling that he would be that type of manager, I think he wouldn't have had the time. He wouldn't have been able to buy the time.
Right.
Sir Alex Ferguson is a good example.
But Arsenal were not what Arsenal is today.
No.
Or even of the Wenger era, where they were not there. They were not that when he got there.
No, of course not. He brought that mentality to them. But if the expectations were for him to do that, he probably wouldn't have had as long a leash.
Of course.
And the same thing goes for Mikel Arteta. You saw how vicious our own fans were about getting this man out. And I said, man, he won us an FA Cup in his first half season. You got to give him time. And honestly, that's what I think you do with Graham Potter. You give him time because, all right, the only negative to what I'm about to say is that they're right now 10 points off the relegation zone. I don't think they continue to slide that way, but you have to show confidence in him if you are the front office. You have to send a message that he has to the end of the season. He has to get the buy-in from the players in the locker room. And if that's the case, then this man, replacing him now, you're not really in the relegation zone yet. You've got a couple of weeks of losses before that's a possibility. There's no transfer window. What are you going to do? Bring someone in to save it? You're not saving the team. You're certainly not going to get to the point where you're in Europe anyway. You're kind of a mid-table team. Own that, eat that, let this man finish off the season and see if he can turn it around. Buy him some time.
Okay,
you don't gain anything by sacking him now.
I agree with that to some degree. The problem here is that gone are the days of a club like Chelsea who invests so much money. They need to see some returns. They need to see returns in qualifying for Europe.
Okay, sack him today. Bring in superstar manager X, whatever.
Right.
What can that man do to get close to Europe? Not enough, bro. What's the standings? They're how many points away from fifth? They're in. You don't have to slide that far down to see them. They're 10 points away from fifth.
Yeah.
Is Newcastle? I could see Newcastle slipping up, but I don't think you bring in. You know what? I might have to back up what I just said.
I don't think they're getting Europe, no matter who they bring in, because that's the other question.
Also, their goal differential.
Who do you bring in? Who's available? Hansi Flick or some of the names? Luis Enrique, maybe?
Jesse Marsh.
Jesse Marsh.
Yeah,
these are big national team managers that probably wouldn't leave their job in the middle of the season to come help some mid-table.
What about Bielsa?
I guess Bielsa, but he seems like his next job is going to want to be another long-term project. He's not going to want to come in. And then if Chelsea,
he likes to build. He doesn't want to.
Exactly. I mean, Chelsea in shambles is a good project to get.
I guess.
Project pickup. So, look. So I think you are being. I think you are living in the past of how.
Can we get a ooh?
Of how I think. Cutthroat and how desperate the teams that invest a lot of money need to make the money back, and how quickly they want to make the money back. Todd Bowley, with the transfer window that Chelsea had, which is they spent more than any club in the world to bring in the players
they spend more than some leagues.
Bro, it's like the GDP of Blangola, dog. They spent an unbelievable amount of money.
Which I'm embarrassed to announce.
You don't want to look at the books at Blangola, right?
In fact, we got rid of the books. Bro, we're like Florida.
Numbers are not allowed here.
Get these books out of here, bro. We're more of a vibes-based country.
Economy, dog.